Part 3, Threads of Fate. Chapter 22, The Gathering Storm. The safe house was a wreck, a stark reflection of the team's battered morale. The single light bulb dangling from the ceiling cast harsh shadows over the scattered equipment, discarded wrappers, and blood-stained bandages that littered the floor. Michael Rowe sat at the small dining table, his knuckles white as they gripped a steaming mug of coffee. His thoughts churned like the storm gathering outside. The first faint growls of thunder, a reminder of the chaos waiting just beyond the fragile walls. "We can't keep going like this," Gabriel said, pacing near the boarded-up window. He still wore the bruises from their last mission, the dark swell under his eye a testament to how close they'd come to losing everything. His voice held a raw edge, frustration mingling with exhaustion. "Every move we make, she's already there. Every lead, every safe house, she's a step ahead." Michael didn't look up. His focus remained on the mug, its surface reflecting a distorted image of his face. "She has to slip up eventually. Nobody's perfect, not even Carmichael." Gabriel let out a harsh laugh, leaning against the wall with his arms crossed. "Carmichael isn't just anybody. She's built an empire of precision and fear. And He gestured to the room, his voice breaking. We're hanging on by threads, Michael." "Threads are enough," Michael said quietly. Before Gabriel could respond, the door creaked open and Samira Patel stepped inside, the rain on her jacket glistening under the dim light. She carried a thick manila folder, her face pale but determined. "I've got something," she said, dropping the folder onto the table. Michael snapped to attention, his mug forgotten. Gabriel straightened as well, his skepticism momentarily giving way to curiosity. Samira opened the folder, revealing a map and several grainy photographs. "It's a directive, part of the data we recovered from Nemesis's last facility." Gabriel was right. Carmichael is tightening her grip. Phase 4 is more than a mass deployment. It's global replacement. Michael's stomach twisted as he studied the photographs. They depicted a man at a podium, his posture and gestures eerily familiar. The image's resolution was poor, but the implication was clear. The man was a replica. "He's already been replaced," Samira said, her voice steady but grim. "A high-ranking diplomat. This is only the beginning." The decrypted files point to a series of Genesis nodes, key facilities that Nemesis is using to program and deploy the replicas. She tapped the map. "One of them is here." Gabriel frowned as he leaned over her shoulder. "That's deep in Nemesis territory, heavily fortified. What's the play?" Michael's mind raced as he pieced together the fragments of their intelligence. "We hit it. We've been on the defensive too long. If these Genesis nodes are what keeps Phase 4 operational, we tear one down and show them they aren't invincible." Gabriel shook his head. "It's suicide. You've seen their security. We'd be walking into a meat grinder." "We'll recruit help," Samira said, her voice calm but insistent. "I've already reached out to Detective Anderson. He's been tracking Nemesis independently since we last saw him. If we can convince him to join us, he could provide intel, maybe even contacts." "Anderson?" Gabriel's voice dripped with skepticism. "The same guy who nearly got us killed in Prague?" "He's a survivor," Samira countered, "and he hates Nemesis as much as we do. He's already flagged inconsistencies in the behavior of key officials. He'll come around." Michael nodded. "Do it. And while we wait, we plan. Every contingency, every escape route. If we're going to take on Nemesis directly, we need to be smarter than ever." The sound of rain intensified outside, the storm finally breaking in earnest. Thunder rumbled, shaking the walls of the safe house. For a moment, the three of them stood in silence, the weight of their mission settling over them like a shroud. Gabriel broke the silence, his voice quieter now. "If this is the move, then let's make it count. No more running, no more half measures." Michael met his brother's gaze, the unspoken tension between them momentarily giving way to shared determination. "No more half measures," he echoed. The storm had subsided by the time Anderson arrived at the rendezvous point. a grimy diner on the outskirts of the city. Michael, Gabriel, and Samira watched from the corner booth as the detective walked in, his trench coat dripping from the rain. His sharp eyes swept the room before settling on them. Anderson approached cautiously, his movements deliberate. He slid into the booth without waiting for an invitation, his gaze locking onto Michael's. "You've got guts calling me," Anderson said, his tone neutral but edged with suspicion. "After Prague, I figured we were done." Michael didn't flinch. "We're not done until Nemesis is finished. You know that." Anderson's lips twitched, almost a smile. "So what's the play this time?" Samira slid the map across the table. "A Genesis node. If we take it out, we disrupt Phase 4 and send a message. We need intel and support. You're the best shot we've got." Anderson studied the map for a long moment, his expression unreadable. Finally, he leaned back, crossing his arms. "You're insane. But you're right. I've been watching Nemesis long enough to know they're gearing up for something massive. If you're serious about hitting them, I'm in. But this has to be clean. No screw-ups." Michael extended his hand. "Then let's get to work." Anderson shook it, his grip firm. "Let's. But don't make me regret this." Back at the safe house, the atmosphere shifted. Anderson brought with him a renewed sense of purpose, his experience and insights helping to refine their plan. He provided details about the node's layout, patrol routes, and potential weak points. As the team worked late into the night, their earlier tension gave way to a fragile sense of unity. Anderson's contributions went beyond strategy. His gruff pragmatism challenged the team's assumptions, forcing them to anticipate failures and adapt in real time. At one point, he dissected the team's escape routes, pointing out vulnerabilities they hadn't considered. "You've got brains," he said gruffly, "but Nemesis will outsmart you if you don't plan for the worst." Gabriel begrudgingly admitted Anderson's value after a particularly pointed suggestion about using synchronized drone disruptions to mask their infiltration. "Okay, fine," Gabriel muttered. "You're not completely useless." Anderson's wry smile in response carried the faintest trace of camaraderie. By dawn, the plan was set. The Genesis node would be their first offensive strike against Nemesis, a high-stakes gamble that could either cripple Phase 4 or spell their doom. Michael stood by the window, watching as the first rays of sunlight pierced the storm clouds. For the first time in weeks, he felt a flicker of hope. "This is it," he said quietly, his voice firm. No turning back. Behind him, Gabriel, Samira, and Anderson nodded in silent agreement. The storm had broken, but the real battle was only beginning. Hours later, the safe house buzzed with activity. Anderson was testing a portable jammer, its faint hum filling the room as he adjusted its frequency. Samira fine-tuned their digital countermeasures, ensuring their approach wouldn't trip Nemesis's early warning systems. Gabriel inspected the drones he'd armed with custom EMP payloads, his movements careful but purposeful. Michael oversaw it all, stepping between his team and offering quiet words of encouragement where needed. "We're taking a risk even discussing this here," Anderson said without looking up from his device. "Nemesis has ears everywhere." "Then we stay one step ahead," Michael replied, "and we hit them hard enough that they don't have time to listen." Gabriel snorted. "Bold strategy. Let's hope it works." Samira glanced up from her laptop, her expression serious. "We've accounted for as much as we can. The rest, well, it's going to come down to us." Michael nodded. "And we've never been more ready." As the sun climbed higher, the team loaded their gear into a nondescript van parked outside. The storm clouds had cleared, leaving the air crisp and heavy with the promise of what was to come. Anderson took the driver's seat, his sharp eyes scanning the horizon as he started the engine. Gabriel slid into the back, his usual sarcasm tempered by the gravity of the moment. "Let's make sure this doesn't end with us in pieces." Michael met his brother's gaze, his own resolve mirrored in Gabriel's expression. "It won't." The van pulled onto the road, its tires crunching on the gravel as the safe house disappeared behind them. Ahead, the horizon stretched wide. the sky an unbroken expanse of blue. But for the team inside, the path was anything but clear. Each mile brought them closer to the Genesis node and to the reckoning that awaited. They drove in silence, each lost in their own thoughts. Samira occasionally glanced at her tablet, monitoring the scrambled feeds that masked their movements. Anderson's hands tightened on the wheel as they approached their target. Gabriel leaned his head back, his eyes closing briefly, as if steeling himself for the fight ahead. Michael's gaze remained fixed on the road, his mind a storm of strategy and determination. This was their moment. This was their chance to turn the tide, and no matter the cost, they would see it through. The real battle was beginning, and there was no room for failure.